We love talking Trek, and we love, even in some small way, contributing to the amazing community that is Star Trek. To another episode of the Astromax Show. I am Max, and with me the wonderful and fabulous Will, the lore master of all things Star Trek. Well, at least compared to me.
We do what we can.
The one to rein me in when I forget the most basic things.
We muddle through.
We do our best. We take it one day at a time, one episode at a time, one undiscovered country at a time.
And we have a really good time.
We do. All we do is talk Trek and have a good time.
Yeah.
I hope you all think it's a good time. But anyway, I think this episode we are all really going to enjoy because I won't say long last, but it's about time we got around to talking about the spicy newness of the Star Trek canon, Strange New Worlds. I almost said Brave New Worlds again.
Yeah, not all
Nailed
subtly,
it.
but you got it. You got it.
Nailed it.
What's it time for?
It's time for our first impressions. Will, hit me with your first impressions. Strange New World, episode 1.
Look, I was geeking out from start to finish on this episode. Let me just say, I'm not really here to rate it, but it was fantastic. It was so good.
It's so good. If it had a rating, it would be the highest rating.
It would be 11 out of 10.
Yeah.
I loved it. And I was already enamored of Christopher Pike from his introduction in Discovery, and I was so happy to learn that he was getting his own spin-off. And the expectations were pretty high. And so far, I've only seen the first episode, mind you. There are more out as we were taping this.
Yes.
There are. I've only seen the first episode because we're trying to take it sort of by stages.
Yeah.
First impressions, one of the most watchable episodes of Star Trek I have ever seen.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. Couldn't look away.
No.
Couldn't look away. My first impressions, 100%. Everything you just said.
Yeah.
I loved it. So part of the reason that it took me so long to get around to watching Strange New Worlds, because when it was released, the idea for this show was not even around yet. But I always get so apprehensive whenever I start a new chapter of something that I love.
Yeah.
And part of me is just I don't want to let go of things in the past. There are shows that I have watched that I have still not watched the final episode.
I know this about you. Yes.
There are Star Treks that I still have not watched the final episodes for.
It's true. You are unique in that, but we respect it.
It is part of my ploy to cheat death. I can't possibly die until I've watched all the Star Treks. So
it makes perfect sense to me.
Flawless logic.
Yeah.
But when I finished this and the credits were rolling, the first thought that went through my mind was, I feel like I'm watching the Star Treks of yesteryear. It felt similar to Encounter at Farpoint.
Yeah.
Right? It was just, they set up for a larger universe, but everything was contained, for the most part, to one, they went on a mission. They explored a world. They did the thing. They did the trek, and then the episode ended. And that's my favorite approach to Star Trek series.
And they closed the arc. There are some tendrils of the story and the elements that were introduced that will be picked up, obviously. That will be picked up in later episodes in the season and maybe seasons to come. But they closed the arc for the episode.
Yes.
And so that is something that we had been missing in sort of the more recent Treks like Discovery and Enterprise.
Yeah.
And episodic nature that we had come to love about Star Trek.
Yeah, I feel like this blended the grandness that Discovery was able to capture with the simplicity of just telling an episodic, I walked into a trap on that one episode.
There
I got
was-
into trouble 2 words into that sentence.
There was no better word.
Let's get in to our segments. And starting with, I can't wait, I love it. Let's talk about the ship. Let's talk about the Enterprise.
I mean, I just...
NCC 1701.
So, I mean, it was classic, right? It's like opening your garage and finding just like a Porsche 911 fully restored.
Yeah.
Just like sitting there.
Hold on, I gotta go check my garage real quick.
It was beautiful. I love the entrance.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't care how many Star Treks they've done. That is still the best ship.
it is.
Like design wise, and I loved how they were able to update it, but it still had the like old school deflector array.
Yes. It did have that. Yeah.
And like the old school warp core,
Mhm.
but then like you get to the bridge and everything's
Clean.
laid out
and
like the
flashy
original, but
and
yeah, and with like the light trimming
functional.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love a good light trimming in my
Yeah.
Trek. If it doesn't have light trimming, it's not really a set in Trek.
It's true. It's true.
And this is how you start an episode. You started with the ship, like right off the bat.
Mhm.
There it was,
Mhm.
and that intro.
Yeah.
I love a Star Trek intro because it's really just like a minute and a half where you just get to like swoon over the ship.
And also just what you're
And
about to
space.
experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was so happy that they went back to the original monologue.
Yes.
Yeah, for the first time in. Ooh, I don't want to do the math on that because it's gonna make me feel old.
Yeah. I'd also just be wrong. So,
Well, like DS9 didn't do it, Voyager didn't do it, Enterprise didn't do it,
no.
Next Generation or not Next Generation, oh, God. Discovery didn't do it.
No, I mean, it's TNG.
The Lower Decks didn't do it.
Right.
Yeah, TNG and the original.
And then, yeah.
Yeah. So that intro was not Faith of the Heart, and I think that's really all it needed to be.
That's true. That was the only bar that I needed to clear.
Yeah, that's so sad for Star Trek intros that like they went so far down with Enterprise that now it's just if it's not Enterprise, it's
a super workable intro.
Yeah.
Accepted.
I remember one point in time thinking that like DS9 was as bad as it was gonna get.
No.
Enterprise came along, hold my beer.
Yeah. Oh my dear, bro. I got this.
I was very impressed with the Enterprise and how quickly it entered orbit. At the end of that episode, when Pike was like, "Show him what you got," and it was like, "Boom!" It's like we're here.
I know. Look,
It's just
so yeah.
Did they transport the whole?
Wait, let's save that for the other segment. We gotta save it.
All right.
We'll come back to that.
All right. But I also liked at the end where like the Killy were like, all the kids were like making like, what is it? Where you like make the strings of like the shape that you would like.
Yeah,
hang,
like the little silhouette things.
Yeah,
that was cool.
like the cult of the Enterprise was arising.
Look, I did not really know how to interpret that scene actually, because I was like, it had a religious feel to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was like some clerics making these shapes.
Yeah, it felt like I said. It felt like a cult. Like it was going to be the new cult. But also, when you realize that what they're doing is they're trying to reverse engineer the logistics for the ship. I was like, ooh, we already know these people are really good at reverse engineering.
We do not, because
they
they made
reversed
a warp bomb.
Yeah, like they reverse engineered a warp bomb from like particle dust that their telescopes detected during the Klingon Federation war that was taking place. Because I'm like, are they just messing with the Federation? Be like, yeah, no, sure, well,
No, from the
sign us
from the
up.
Klingon Federation versus Control, and also the Kelpians. I'm sorry.
Alien. Let's talk about Alien of the Week.
Alien of the Week. Okay.
Alien of the Week.
The Keeley. What did we think?
I liked them as the first alien that you're introduced to in this series. There wasn't anything like particularly special about them. other than how human they were.
Well, right. Okay, so that was my note, really. As like that was my one note for the episode that I found sort of a questionable choice.
That was your only note?
Okay. This is I think that might have been my only note, really. Yeah. Wow. It might have been.
All right.
It was that in a first contact situation, we spent almost no time getting to know the Keeley.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Almost no time.
Yeah. It was a little rushed.
It was a little rushed.
Yeah.
And TNG has like a very similar episode. When Riker gets captured. He's on his first contact. Yeah, he's like exploring. He's in disguise like they are. I totally forget the species and the planet in this case, but he gets knocked out in some riot, and then at the hospital they discover that he's not, despite his.
Oh yes, I know.
Yeah.
I know the episode you're talking about now. Yeah,
right.
Yeah. A very similar setup.
Very similar setup.
Yeah.
But you really get to know kind of what's going on. On the planet. There's echoes of this all over in the episode, but I feel like the Keeleys didn't get quite the podium they deserved, right?
Yeah. Quite the platform. But the last thing, the next thing I want to talk about, since we're in the topic of first contacts, this was a terrible first contact.
It did not go by. It was if you're judging things like by the book. This is the farthest from the book that you can get.
Yeah, like here's the prime directive. Here's what would normally be considered okay, and then way over there is Pike in this episode.
I love that too. This is like the week that they termed prime directive. It's General Order 1 right now.
Yeah.
Right? And then after this shit show, they
They're
were like, no, that's not strong enough wording. They don't think we're serious.
Yeah, which
prime directive.
How after like all of Archer's shenanigans did they not realize that they needed like more regulation?
Look, I think that's what they did. So like after Archer's shenanigans, they were like, okay, General Order 1.
Take it seriously, guys. Then everyone takes it seriously, and then you have Pike over here be like. So, but the more I think about it, the more I'm like, this is so wrong. Because, all right, so normal first contact, like you don't interfere, whatever. It's not only that they interfered, it's not only that they show technology, it's that they straight up bullied the Keeley into it's like, join the Federation or my ship is going to destroy you.
Or,
like, I have the stick.
Yes. They're not explicitly threatening, but that's what it is, right?
No,
yeah. They're just like, okay, so you have a big stick. Here's my stick.
Yeah, like, it's Pike's conscience couldn't handle that. Like humanity had the Federation had made a mistake. Like everyone that dies here is the blood's on our hand. I'm like, no, they built the bomb. If they blow up the bomb, that's on them. Like, what you did is intimidate them into not using the bomb because threat of your ship, like your power.
Right.
Which makes me believe that we have not seen the last of this conflict. Like this is going to come up again.
I think you're probably right.
Yeah.
I like the discussion around it.
Yeah.
That's always fun. Prime directive talk. There's really no end of material there.
Yeah.
But I like that Kirk weighed in this way. I mean, obviously we were meant to like it.
Yeah.
It's like, so we already have influenced them unintentionally.
Yeah.
So our choice now is to let that influence take its own course or to exert more influence and actually mean it this time and actually try to guide us to not blowing up a planet.
So, speaking of influence.
Okay.
This segue is the influence of the past on the present.
Shot by cannon. I like how we workshopped that for like 2 minutes and we're going with it.
We're going with it.
Shot by cannon.
Shot by cannon. This might be the only episode I remember the title of it.
No. It's great.
We're going to timestamp it. There it is.
Shot by cannon.
Shot by cannon. So.
Let's start with Lahn Noonie Singh.
Yeah. Oh, man.
So
I found my perfect wife. I want someone that angry and capable of violence.
And with like that many emotional barriers.
Yeah, it matches my own.
A perfect union.
The only other thing would be Vulcans, but I've already established that they're boring. There's some excitement with Lahn.
There is. You don't really know what she's gonna do. Oh. Yeah, she's a wild card. I love it.
There's the permission to act decisively.
Yes. That was fantastic. I love his sort of consternation for like an instant. He's like, go ahead.
Yeah, he's like, well, you were already right about raising shields, so yeah.
Take it.
Pike's got to leave that mission being like, I'm done with away missions, man. It's freaking time. Can't take this crew anywhere.
Yeah, but Lahn is very watchable. I love her introduction, and I think I'm so glad that she's going to be in this troop.
I was writing a note when they introduced her name, and I was like, no. I was like, no. I was like, what? Huh? What?
Sing?
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 Huh?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm so excited to see what they do with her character. I think it was brilliant to bring her into it.
Yeah.
Because Star Trek is always better with a villain, right? But it's something they've struggled to consistently maintain a good villain in. Okay, Deep Space Nine has Gul Dukat.
Yes.
And Gul Dukat makes that show infinitely better.
He does.
The original series had Khan, right?
Yeah.
And granted, he didn't show up two appearances. He had an episode and a movie. But
2 movies now.
Fair, very fair. But he sets a tone, right? Like these villains, and then in Next Generation, you had the Borg, right? You had the Borg Queen.
Yes.
And anytime your protagonist can have a consistent antagonist to bounce off of, I think it opens up a whole new toolbox of writing and storytelling. And I hope that Lahn not necessarily becomes the villain, but
there's something attached to
come on, she's
echoes of the eugenics wars.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, she's devious. She's not telling the truth.
It's true. I'm fine either way, how that falls.
Yeah.
I'm fine if she doesn't become the villain. If she does, I think that would be great. Yeah. All right. But, Kirk.
Let's talk about mustaches. So, you did some research into this, because I was very confused as to which Kirk.
I know. I thought for a second, I thought it was Jim Kirk, and I was like, what? You were a science officer? What's going on?
When were you?
Obviously,
when were you a science officer? Any Kirk being a science officer,
right.
boggles my mind.
Right, and I'm sure that our fans watching who are sort of have watched the original series over and over again are like,
going with plural. I like it.
What?
Fans.
Yeah, well,
plural.
Yeah, come on. Come on. So, I'm sure you all know, you knew right away. You were like, no, that's George Kirk, the brother, also affectionately referred to by Jim as Sam Kirk. I did not know that. I was just like...
Okay, they did say Sam. Okay.
Yeah.
That's how I got Sewell. I was like, I think it starts with an S.
Yeah, it's Sam Kirk. Yeah.
Oh, that's better.
Right.
That's better.
And I think it's kind of like a pet name that really only Jim uses in the original series. But I guess they're just bringing that in.
Okay.
More familiar. Sam Kirk.
Okay.
I like it.
Yeah.
I still don't know about the staff. But I like we're bringing the brother in. We're exploring that. I love that.
When they first announced that they were going to do Strange New Worlds, I was like, oh boy, this is going to go one of two ways. This is either going to be a fantastic reinvention of some older stuff, or they're going to go too far into the need to recreate what came before. And when the first time they mentioned Kirk's name, I was like, oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh. This is how they're going to bring children back into Star Trek. And I'm going to get an angsty 17-year-old Kirk. Or I'm going to get Kirk Sr. and 8-year-old Kirk walking around the ship.
Right, as the new Wesley Crusher.
Yeah.
Yeah. The dangerous waters.
Yeah, it'll be the Wesley without the scientific genius.
Without the savant syndrome.
Yeah. So what purpose do they serve? Alexander Rodchenko is actually where I was really afraid they were going to go.
Right.
They didn't do that.
No.
They didn't do that. And so far, I'm loving the line that they're walking between being their own thing and being familiar.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
You ready for the next segment?
I am.
Is the audience ready for the next segment? Because we talking junk science, baby.
Every Star Trek fan's favorite topic.
Yeah.
Yada yada, reroute it.
Yep. Can we something, reroute it through the couplers and bypass the...
Yes, increase power to the refinement or the confinement sensors.
Yeah, narrow the confinement beam.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yep. Boost the power to the deflector array. Shut down all non-essential systems.
Can you give me an anti-proton beam?
Can you imagine being the person in the holodeck? You have no idea what's going on. All of a sudden they're like, "Shut up, non-essential power," and you're like mountain climbing, and all of a sudden you just fall to the floor.
So I'm imagining a slightly more adult situation.
Oh! Does it involve a mustache?
It might. I'm not saying any specific adult situation. I'm just saying that you're in the midst of an amorous holographic pursuit, and someone shuts up you.
Oh no!
Oh my
They just blue ball you.
Ooh.
Captain. I know. Look, this is truly essential power.
Right now. I'm sorry, but the board can wait 2 minutes. Please. That's hysterical, man.
God.
Okay. Right.
That'd be so bad. Oh, that'd be so bad. Yeah. All right. So, the two really fun ones. Transporters.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna start with transporters because, wow. Okay. So, we'll back up. We'll start with when we'll call it the nurse, because I don't remember her name. Is chasing the Killy through the state, and she needs to re-synthesize Spock's thing that transforms him to look like a Keeley, right?
Give him a booster.
Yeah, but they need to re-sequence one of their proteins from one of the Keeley, right? And they find out he's a match, and then he goes running off. She stabs him with a hypo spray. Instantly, it's been re-sequenced, and then they transport it. They transport just the vial. I think they transport it inside of Spock.
This was some surgical transporter work. Okay.
Yeah. Where did they transport it to?
I don't know.
Is it a suppository?
Spock's sitting there just getting his eye scan. I was
woo. Because 1 minute he's his ears are starting to fall out of shape, his retinas aren't working, and the next he's whoop, we're fine,
we got it.
And I'm
yeah. Yep.
You don't want to explain that?
That was great.
That was classic junk science.
Yes.
The other one that I had, and this one they did explain, and this is something that every Star Trek has done this, and they've never really explained it all that well, was how they made them look like the Keeley. Right? In DS9, when they do there's the episode where they infiltrate the Klingons to try and they think Gowron's changed and whatever.
I mean, that's prosthetics basically, or it's sort of futuristic.
Yeah,
advanced prosthetic.
Bashir takes them into the back room, and they come out looking like Klingons,
yes,
and that's what they're like, wow, you do remarkable work, Bashir. And this one they're like, no, we're gonna shoot you with this hypo spray, and it's gonna resequence your DNA, but not really resequence your DNA.
Temporarily.
But it's temporarily gonna change enough things that all your features are gonna change.
Yeah.
And it's excruciatingly painful.
Right. You're just
what? Why did you need to explain it?
It's true. I mean, that's one of the licenses. They were like, all right, we're going to reinvent how we do this procedure, because it's been the sort of makeup and prosthetics throughout.
Yep.
We're trying something else.
And I think that's a good segue, because there's one last thing I want to talk about. My question to you, sir, is is funny all you can expect now? Or is it can we still have camp? Does the camp really exist, or is it just a byproduct of aging, right? Is
Right.
it like a wine, and the older the Trek is, the campier it gets?
Well, I think we can't deny that it definitely Star Trek Camp has that feature to it, right? It gets campier, and in most cases better with age, because that feeling of that flavor of camp is something that we've just grew up on and is sort of indispensable to our experience of Star Trek now, right? And so it's something that we're kind of always searching for in modern Trek. You know, we're kind of like, is it there? Was that a little campy? You know, it was a little campy, but 10 years from now when we watch it, we'll be like, oh, that's really campy now. I'm sure Tilly from Discovery is gonna yes. Most of her.
Oh, she's gonna be a rare vintage. She's gonna be like the most sought after camp. Yeah.
It's kind of I don't
Up there
know.
with Quark.
Yeah, I don't know on a tangent. That's kind of how I experience pop music, right? Most pop music I can't listen to as it comes out. 10 years from now, I'm like, this is great.
Yeah.
I remember the song when it came out, and I love it now.
Yeah, like 90s pop.
Yeah.
Like 90s pop now, 22 years later, I'm like, that's all right, actually.
Yeah, I can listen to this all day.
Yeah, there's so is it actually good, or is it just nostalgic? Like, is the Star Trek camp actually good? Or does it just remind us of, like, an innocent age?
I think we can leave it at that. That's one of the truly subjective flavors, right?
Yeah.
That's just appreciated person by person differently.
There's no wrong way to nerd.
There's no wrong way to nerd over Star Trek, And so I'm catching like hints of it, I guess, and I'm really hoping that they try to bring it with Sam Kirk. I think the mustache gives me a lot of hope in that area.
Amen, brother.
It does. It gives me a lot of hope.
Yeah, I think Spock and Sam Kirk's relationship is gonna be dynamite.
I am looking forward to it.
I think Spock's gonna be calling up his soon-to-be wife and like, actually, I'm gonna stay in space indefinitely. Me and Sam.
I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I'm not.
I hope. Number one thing I want from that, I want the O'Brien Bashir bromance level, like.
You want that buddy comedy?
Yeah. Trek hasn't been able to They tried so hard with Paris and Kim. They tried so hard.
The characters are just were not strong enough.
It didn't work.
No.
It didn't work. All right, last segment. And this isn't an ongoing segment, but one last thing I want to touch on before we wrap up this episode. The end of this episode, because it's the first episode, had the, this season. I want you and I to do maybe one or two way too early predictions. And the audience already knows how wrong we're gonna be.
Absolutely. Like, you guys have probably watched as it
They're
was
probably
released.
watching it Thursday night.
Yeah.
So here we go. We're like, it's been like 6 months now?
Right.
It's been out for a while.
Right. So my first prediction, which I already kind of went into, was that Lahn, her connection with Khan is gonna be explored. Like there's gonna be some Khan. I don't know Khan explicitly, but some augment action.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Some eugenics drama is coming up with that, and I'm excited.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's definitely something we can look forward to.
Right. My other Andorian mad scientist. What was his line?
The magic of science.
Oh my god! Yes. All right. Prediction having nothing to do with upcoming plots. That's my new favorite character.
Yeah, if that is the only scene he has, doesn't matter. Still my favorite character.
Doesn't matter. I love
that. I'm right there with you on that one. Yeah. Who do you think that aliens, like that, there's like a couple of scenes where they're like clearly being chased by like another ship or whatever.
Yeah. So, that it was like a weird sort of tripod ship.
Yeah.
Right? It was a weird tripod ship, and it's not the same ship at all, or even the same, like, really the same. It was the size of it and something else, some other flavor of that ship reminded me of the Tholians from Enterprise.
Okay.
And I'm probably the only person who thinks this. I kind of hope they're the Tholians because those are aliens that I had always wanted more time with.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
They live in like this 700 degrees That's their atmosphere. It's like liquid helium or something crazy on their ships. I've always wanted to do a deep dive with the Tholians.
Tholians. Okay, I take it.
It's not necessarily a prediction, but it's a hope.
All right. So, I'll go with the Tholians.
Cool.
Yeah. Because it's not the Ferengi.
It's not the Ferengi.
I want more Ferengi.
Yeah.
No. We are going to wrap this episode. Thank you so much for hanging out. No. Seriously, if you liked this episode, if you would like more, please give us a like, give us a share, tell your friends about us, ring the bell for notifications, and until next time.
You've been Max. I've been Will.
You've been watching the Astromax Show.